Hello and good evening. My name is Raphael and I'm here to make an instructional video on how to operate a 3D printer. So 3D printing is a form of additive manufacturing utilized in a wide variety of industries. It involves extruding small layers of plastic in order to form a piece or part desired. Many people find no use in 3D printing, however, it's a very important thing to learn how to operate because it can serve for repairs, making commodities, or making tools. Now, operating a 3D printer is very simple. You would have to first select a CAD model, transport it to a slicing software and download it, prepare the 3D printer and start the printing process. And once the printer is done, you would have to finish up and clean up the piece. So here are some terminology to start us off with. The filament is a thin spool of plastic that feeds into the nozzle, which heats up the plastic and extrudes it onto the bed to form the piece. Now the user interface is used to download the code onto the 3D printer and watch for temperatures such as the bed temperature and the nozzle temperature. So the first step would be finding a CAD model. A CAD model is a computer-aided design model made in computer software. Such softwares include Fusion, SolidWorks, or Tinkercad. In these softwares, you can model your own part. However, if you choose to grab another part from a third party, you can use websites such as GrabCAD or Tinkercad to find models already made. Now, in order to get your model processed, you would have to turn it into an STL file, which is short for stereolithography, which grabs the CAD and forms it into a triangulated surface. In this step, you should have chosen a model ready for the slicing software. So the next step would be transporting your CAD model into a slicing software and downloading the G-code. What a slicing software does is it takes the part that you chose and slices the STL file into multiple layers to make into G-code, which is instructions for the printer to read. Now it is similar to a compiler for a coding software, where the compiler takes the user's inputs and forms it into machine code for the computer to read. In the software itself, you could add multiple features to help with your printing, such as infill, supports, or wall thickness. Now these features can really aid in making a successful print and not using as much plastic as you might need to. In the end, you will have a complete file to put into your 3D printer and start printing. So once you have your code ready to go, it's time to start the 3D printer and start printing the piece. Now, preparing the printer means making sure that your nozzle and bed temperatures are correct depending on what material you're using. Some examples of materials that can be used would be nylon, PETG, ABS, or simple PLA, each having their own set of properties and therefore their own temperatures. Now, before you print, you have to make sure you wait until the bed and nozzle temperatures are set at the correct settings, and before you're ready to go, make sure that printing bed is clean of any debris from previous prints, and add any necessary modification to the settings, such as any supports that might be missing, so that your print comes out smooth. Now once the print is starting and is ready to go, make sure that you're there for that first layer, because you want to make sure that in case it fails, you're ready to stop the print. After some time, your printer will be completely done and it's time to clean up the piece. Now that means that the printer is completely done moving or extruding any plastic onto the part, and you're able to take it off the build plate safely. Now when you take it off the build plate, make sure you're very careful with the piece as to not break any part of the plastic. Now once it's off the build plate, you can take off any unwanted supports that you added on the slicing software and sand down or cut off any loose plastic. And from there you should have your complete piece done and ready to go. All in all, 3D printing is a very useful tool to learn and is not limited to any outside industries or big companies. You can learn how to 3D print following 4 simple steps. First, selecting a CAD model, then transporting it to a slicing software and downloading the file, and then transporting that into the 3D printer itself and start printing the piece, and then from there finishing up and cleaning up the piece. Now if your part fails or you're not satisfied with the outcome, you can always go back to those steps and check for any discrepancies in your design. Thank you very much for watching and have a good day.